Hello, hello. So good to see all of you. Let's put your faces on those boxes. This is one of our most talkative groups, a very talkative group, I will say, and I run 30 of them. I want to introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. My name is Lisa Lorraine Smith. I'm the Chief Program Officer here at the network. And what I always like to say is, for all of us to get to know each other even better, is make sure you right click on your box so that you can put in your community so we know where you're calling in from. This is going to be a great discussion. I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about it, but I want to introduce to you your two wonderful co-chairs. Belinda actually is going to be a little bit late, so let me introduce you to Anat Paz, who is the Manager of Volunteer and Integration Services at JCFS in Winnipeg. And Belinda is from Alpha JFS in West Palm Beach, and she'll come in. She had to do something for volunteering, and she wasn't able to get out of it before this meeting, so she'll join us a little bit later. But Anat, you want to kick us off? And
I will start. I must say that I'm just mesmerized by Brandon, I guess, keyboard. It looks like you have a DJ station, and it's like play some music. It's like
Thank you. It lights up. I appreciate it.
it's unbelievable. I was looking and then you disappeared. I said, like, where is all the fun?
The mouse matches it too, so
That's amazing. So we have some color added to our meeting today.
I'm wondering
So I
who's
think
new here. We might have some new people.
yeah, we
joining
do.
us.
We'll just I will wait I guess a couple minutes and then we will start. So as Lisa asked, if you can please add your location next to your name, that will help us all kind of know if we are US, Canada, what city in the US. So
Marissa,
I think
that's Colorado. That's where you are in Denver.
And Kate and Bailey, if both of you can please add. So Kate from Pittsburgh.
Bailey, have you been on this call before? I didn't think so. No, you're muted.
No, I took over the RSVP coordinator position July 31st. This is my first meeting.
And
what
Bailey,
agency?
where are you from?
I'm from South Jersey.
I'm from North Jersey.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm in Fair Lawn in Bergen County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
And then Brandon, I think, is also new. And Brandon, let me just say, I'm shouting out to you that Metro Food Rescue is our newest member agency, and it's it's one of the only agencies we have that is this. So you might want to just tell us a little bit about your agency.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon. I'm the operations manager at Metro Food Rescue. So a little bit about us. We're a food rescue, kind of sit in between somewhere a little bit under Gleaners or Forgotten Harvest. We work with stores, we work with pantries, everything in between to kind of move food around and make sure it's getting to the right places. Part of kind of my role as the operations manager is to start getting our volunteer program going and running. So it's kind of why I'm here, and it's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure that we have partnered up. So
terrific. Welcome.
so welcome, and we will definitely would like to hear more about your organization later on. So first, I want to wish all of you Shana Tova for those that celebrate that Jewish New Year, and I hope it started well. Belinda, the other co-chair of this committee, hopefully will join us in about half an hour, and we'll continue the conversation with her. So what today we wanted to talk a little bit about was volunteering during high holidays and leading up towards Hanukkah and New Year's. If you have any volunteer position, was there anything unique about volunteering around this time of year? What opportunities you had? So feel free to start talking and sharing.
Well, we do a we
Who is
got we
we?
have
Sorry, who's talking?
sorry. This is Kate,
Hi, Kate.
GFCS Pittsburgh. We are a pantry. We run a stable of sort of 21 volunteers, and then people that also want to help out, we will almost always put them on food drives. And our biggest food drive of the year is the High Holiday Food Drive. It goes from like I say it's a high holiday food drive. It really goes from like July to December, like 6 months of the year, where the volunteers are processing stuff that's coming in, being donated, sorting it out. And then we have donations coming in from a bunch of suburban congregations all over sort of the greater area. So yeah, donation drives are a great thing to put volunteers on. We'll get 800 pounds of miscellaneous stuff, and there's no way to sort it except by hand. And there's, the manpower. People like to volunteer around.
So you have so are you providing something that is special for Rosh Hashanah, or it just goes from July to December and you call it high holidays?
We do special stuff for Rosh Hashanah as well. But the undertaking of the food drive is large enough that the paperwork has to start in July. And then people will donate a lot in the actual week between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But then people will be, okay, thanks everybody. And then they'll just keep bringing stuff after, and it'll still have high holiday stuff on it. So it's a big enough undertaking that although it is focused on the week of the high holidays, the actual work takes 6 months.
How many families are you serving?
We serve about 1,200 families.
Holy mo.
Yeah.
And you give them how often do they get bags?
These specific Rosh Hashanah bags, they get, once a year, but they get the things that are donated during the drive are distributed as regular food as well. So we have special Rosh Hashanah food. We get the challah honey, we get some gala apples going. And then we get gefilte fish. We have instant mashed potatoes. We have special bags for that. They get those once a year, but then they can come twice a month to, into our pantry, and the pantry will be stocked with all kinds of different goodies that we have donated in all throughout the drive.
So twice a month, you have 1,200 people come and access the pantry?
Some do not come every month. Some don't come twice a month. I would say on a monthly basis, we go through a stable of maybe 700 people a month. Our total roster is 1,200, but I would say we can only process about 700 people a month.
That's a huge volume. It's unbelievable.
It's a lot, yeah.
Unbelievable. Anyone else here in this group had a food drive for Rosh Hashanah? Just raise your hand so we'll know if it's relevant to more than. So 3. So we have Joyce, Melanie, and Kate. The rest are not involved with and Brandon, I mean, I guess you are doing not really?
Well, it's kind of, so yes and no. So we take food to a bunch of places, but nothing like really that's been like focused on Rosh Hashanah. Any, like the partners we have, like Kol Ami and the temples, we bring them kosher stuff and stuff that would be good for the holidays almost any day anyways, But we're still doing stuff, but nothing like a special program or food drive or anything, out of the norm for it this year. Just the normal drop-offs.
Thank you. Melanie, yes. You're muted.
Our drive is much smaller than what Kate does in Pittsburgh. We don't really have a drive where people bring in food. We do have volunteers that deliver catered meals to 100 clients that our case management team selects. So we do that for Rosh Hashanah, and we also do that for Passover.
Oh yeah, our Passover is much bigger than Rosh Hashanah. It doesn't. We have to compress the work into 2 months, but it is overall far more work.
And the recipient are all Jewish families or just the community at large that benefit from the Jewish high holiday?
Both. The only Jewish families are going to get Rosh Hashanah food, but our pantry also serves Jewish and non-Jewish people in our area code. So it's sort of a Venn diagram. It's everybody that keeps kosher in the Pittsburgh area. And then the other circle of the Venn diagram is everybody that lives in this one area code. And there are some people that are both, but we do both those groups. But we only give Rosh Hashanah food to people who already know what Rosh Hashanah is. Like, if you don't know what it is, you don't need the honey and the challah.
Yeah, that's anyone else would like to share something about that? And if not, we'll move to talk about maybe strategies of recruitment for the new year. If anyone wanna, oh, Jamie.
Yeah, so we just wrapped up not like a food pantry thing, but we partner. So I'm at JFS in Nashville, and we partner with NCJW and deliver Rosh Hashanah bags to seniors in private homes or assisted living facilities. So the bags have apples, honey, challah, and then I kind of help coordinate all those deliveries. So we do use volunteers to deliver the bags to the seniors.
But for your I guess clientele, it's more like a holiday flair, and it seems like
Yes.
for Kate is more financial need. Is that correct?
Yeah, so ours is kind of our isolated seniors who can't really get out into the Jewish community. They can't go to temple for services. So we're kind of trying to bring a little touch of the holidays to them.
So it's a little bit of a warm hug for
Yes,
the new year.
I bet
Yeah.
that was great for people during COVID too, that couldn't
Mhm.
go out to the store to get, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's I guess the criteria is a little bit different
Right.
from a financial need that comes with a little bit more
Right.
complex, and who qualifies and who not, and the cost and all that. But because I think this conversation is going to be only relevant for the four of us, we'll move to the next topic we have for today and talk about strategies for recruitment, as we all share that we, not all, but most of us struggle finding volunteers, retaining volunteers, and usually Rosh Hashanah in the beginning of like the year, it's time to, I guess, those that attending the synagogue to reflect and see they wanna do something good to the community. So I don't know if any one of you used this opportunity to talk about volunteer recruitment, and if so, if you're willing to share what you did with.
I'll say
From you.
weirdly enough, the volunteers that stick around the most are going to be people that used to have extremely demanding jobs in like synagogues, congregations, or Jewish social service agencies, and they retire and then they don't know what to do with themselves. So they're up for absolutely anything. They'll stay around forever because they don't want to sit at home. Their brain is wired to do work now, so they're like, I gotta help out. We gotta be like, go home, Steve. But they're the best. Yeah, definitely people that retire from organizations like we work in sort of pipeline back into volunteers that stick around for a long time, and people from congregations, synagogues, schools too. We do recruitment there. We also have a website, but yeah.
Thank you, Kate. Anyone else want to share? Oops, the screen keeps on moving. Yes, Lynn.
Yeah, I like what you said, Einat. First of all, Shana Tova to everybody.
Shana Tova.
I like what you said in terms of I find people are contemplative this time of year, and it is true that they try to, foresee how they're going to, excuse me, involve themselves for the year ahead, and what's meaningful to them and everything. So we do see an upsurge at this time of the year in terms of calls that come in and everything, but we also do our own strategic outreach. Now, that being said, we haven't been able to even do an open house in the last 4 years. We just held one at the end of August, and it was extremely successful. People wanted to come back in person and meet us and see the center. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, it was really nice. It made all the difference. I think people finally felt that it's, more, I don't know, personable, obviously, than, calling or doing a Zoom call or whatnot. So they were so appreciative to be able to come in person and meet our other volunteers who shared with them their experiences. And they were the ones who gave the tour of the center and talked to them about what they're doing. And it was marvelous.
That's amazing. I think you shared a little bit about it. For those that didn't hear, do you want to just briefly tell us about the center and what you moved again. What the event was about, and maybe just in a few sentences.
Sure. So the Cumming Center, thank you, is it's a very dynamic center for the 50 plus. So it's under one umbrella. We have some of your organizations, like we have a social service department, but we also have activities and programs and a health center, fitness. We have a cafe. It's a comprehensive center all under one roof. As such, we enable volunteers to participate in the day-to-day functioning of the center. And our volunteers start at 12 and 13, bar and bat mitzvah age, and our oldest is 102 right now.
Oh, wow. So. And but it's a day facility, right? People come and then they stay there.
Yeah, no, there's no live-in facility. Exactly. It's a day program. And we have satellites, of course, and areas within the city where people also go for some of our activities, but we are the main campus, if you will.
Yeah. That serves the Jewish community in that area?
Everyone. I mean, I would say I don't know the percentages, the majority might be Jewish, but services everyone in Montreal Island and the surrounding areas. And then since just prior to COVID, even we've expanded virtually worldwide through our programming. But
so do you see that you have people that will come for an activity and later on will stay and volunteer in a different area?
Exactly. So I appreciate that. So what happens is we try to make it a lifestyle for people. So if they're coming to do their workout, regime in the morning, they may want to meet some friends, pardon me, for lunch or coffee, whatever, following, and then spend the afternoon volunteering, or take a course and then volunteer.
So how many members do you have per day attending the facility?
Well, we're only up to 50% capacity right now. We haven't opened up fully yet because the primary participant, like the age is probably 70, let's say, is the average age. It's more for seniors. So we haven't gone to full capacity as yet. So that's where being hybrid has worked. So something previously where we might have been able to house 30 people in a room for an exercise class. Now we're reaching 90 virtually because we just don't have the capacity and, to spread out since COVID started, unfortunately. So I would say
or fortunately,
on average, it's about 300 people a day. Pardon me?
I would say, or fortunately, because you're reaching more people. I mean, that's what COVID has done for all of us in that.
Yeah, it's really wonderful.
Especially your virtual classes. I remember when you first had those, you offered them, and we sent them out to everyone in the network, our older adult services professionals. And I think a lot of people participated in those virtual classes from
Yeah.
The
different,
virtual, there
states.
is there is advantage and disadvantages, and I think those of you that go to synagogue may be able to elaborate about this topic. The power of people being present in the same room versus an online. So in some ways, it's true you have all those online classes, services, whatever you want. So true, you do reach more people, but there is something being said of being together in the same room, the energy that feeds off each other, the way that you can look at someone at the eye and then and see and like kind of feel how they truly feel. And I know that synagogues struggle because they had to offer, many of them, a virtual service. And for many people, they don't want to go. They just want to, be in their PJ. They don't feel like they need to dress up something. But the congregation is I guess, getting smaller and smaller. And that was a beautiful opportunity to people to mingle. And there are tons of research about the power of synagogue and life expectancy. People that belong to synagogue, to belong to a community, will live longer on average than those that are by themselves. Because you can see, oh, Einat didn't show up to service today. What's going on? You don't know if I tuned in on Zoom or not. But if I'm not present there, and I used to be, maybe someone will go and visit. And this is how the Bikul Cholim, visiting those that are sick, started. That you could see that one member wasn't there. And then from synagogue, from service, you will go to a hospital, you will go to someone's home. So things did change. I understand this is like, we can't go back. We need to move forward, but we also need to find ways to be present in the same room because it feels different. So Lynn, what you mentioned earlier is that it was so nice for people to be together. They were involved, but now being together and see people that have the same value as you, the same volunteer habits, the same routine, being together, you feed off each other and you want to do more. It's encourage you. It gives you that extra strength, extra energy to say, okay, I can do it. If this can do it, I can do it. So this goes back to volunteer strategies. Anyone feel the need to share their struggles and what they plan on doing different this coming year? Sorry, Kate, your hand is up. I just see that.
No, it's okay. I had a question for Lynn, actually. So you have the people that are receiving services and the people that are volunteering with you are sort of both, they're not separated. The groups are sort of mixed in with each other, and there are people that are both.
That's right. That's right.
Interesting. Have you had issues with, like, you make someone a volunteer, they have a key, and then they come in when they're not supposed to come in to get services? That is an issue we had specifically.
Oh, well, ours don't have a key.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's I think that's really cool. I think, people pitching in to, help build the nest that everybody lives in is neat. I wish we could figure out a way to do it.
Well, if it wasn't simply a matter of the key, I think that if I could speak candidly, I think some of the most dedicated volunteers are the ones who receive the service because they feel that it's a way that they could contribute and give back and say thank you.
Yeah,
and
everybody's building the nest together. Yeah.
So
thank you.
So going back, anyone would like to share if they have anything new that they're doing as a recruitment or what goes well? Yes,
I can
Joyce.
share also. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Danielle.
Thank you. So actually, quite recently, we were contacted by a high school in our community, and they were doing their community service fair. And they asked GEM to be part of it. So we were one of the organizations there that that we're promoting that we accept volunteers, and usually we do have a hard time with students specifically because of our hours. We only operate during weekdays from 8:30 to 3:30. That's obviously, the time that the students are in school, but and we did ask the school, like, is it still relevant for us to come if our times usually don't work? And they said yes, because you don't know if they're going to be interested in coming during their holidays or their, pet days or any days off that they could have. So we don't usually do this. We don't usually, go with like students unless they're reaching out to us. We wouldn't necessarily promote ourselves that in the fact that we accept students as volunteers, because usually we have more like an older demographic that comes to volunteer here at GEM, but we're so grateful for any volunteers. Just, it was an interesting,
Danielle, do you
like,
want to share where you work and what
Of course.
volunteer opportunities you have?
Sure. So GEM is a packaging company. We're a nonprofit, but we're still a packaging company. We employ adults living with different disabilities, from mental health challenges to intellectual disabilities or physical disabilities. So it's a wide range of people here, and we do have volunteer opportunities for either volunteers that want to run like a social activity during the lunch break for employees, or if they want to tackle like a space that they want to reorganize here in our factory, or if they want to, just work with our employees in the factory, they want to learn a little bit more and just touch a little bit more of the social aspect of being in touch with our employees. So those are kind of the three silos in our volunteering opportunities. So usually when we receive schools themselves, they come and they really work in the factory with the employees. But when we went to the fair, this was completely, up to the students to come and do whatever they wanted. So that was kind of a new thing for us. I just wanted to share that. And we package, Kate, we package all types of products, going from pharma to like construction to like either we do like paint samples, or we do closed food items, or we do like medical samples of some sort, like gloves or like other items. So a wide range of products that we package.
And usually, do you have volunteers that are involved with GEM?
Yes, we do. So we have a constant group of volunteers, about like 15 volunteers that come on Mondays usually during our lunch hour, and they focus on just social activities for employees during the lunch hour. So that's kind of a set thing that we have every Monday. During summer, we stop just because everyone's kind of like on vacation, but we just resumed actually last week until April, like next year before Passover. That's when we run our constant, like our continuous like volunteer programs. That's, yeah, we do have a set group. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else want to share? I think Joyce, you wanted.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So it's been interesting for me because a couple of our programs have really kind of succeeded in getting volunteers, and then there's been others that have really struggled. So I'd be curious about people's feedback. So one of our programs that the last few months has done great is I'm sorry, and I'm the volunteer director at Jewish Family Service Los Angeles, is our Connect program, and it's specifically for seniors in the city of West Hollywood. And it's sort of like a senior match program. So it's funded by them, and a volunteer is matched with them. We do a lot of work to make sure that the match is long-term. They could do anything from running errands together to going out for coffee or museums or more sociable. So it's whatever kind of the senior is looking for. We try to match them with the appropriate volunteer. So it takes some time to get this done. And we had a really big need late last spring. So we really started recruiting hard for volunteers. We tried Volunteer Match, which we hadn't had much success with before. It turned out to be a great resource for us. And then also interestingly, because of all the strikes going on in the entertainment business, when these first started happening, we actually had a lot of people reach out saying, because they had the time, they had been thinking about volunteering, this was a good time to take advantage. So that actually worked out really well. And we actually have now more volunteers than we have seniors. So now instead of recruiting volunteers, we're actually recruiting seniors for the program. So that was a lot of work, but a great success story. And then on the other hand, we were looking for volunteers for a specific area in LA for our Culver City senior meal site. And we were really not, it's always been tough for us to find volunteer drivers. We don't have a ton, but we tend to rely on our current volunteers. And we just weren't having luck. So we actually put an article in a couple of our local papers. So as you can imagine, LA is really big, so it's hard to kind of narrow it down, but we focus specifically on Culver City and Santa Monica, which are kind of small, kind of a small town feel in a larger area. And we actually had really great success. And it was interesting because we also sent the article to some of the smaller neighborhood papers in LA. We didn't get any response, but from Culver City and Santa Monica, we actually had a really great response. And not only people reaching out, but actually turning into volunteers. On the other hand, our food pantry in the city really struggled over the summer. It's always tough because we have people going on vacation and out of town, and we might have students volunteering during the year. And so that was an area where even when we thought we would have enough volunteers, people would call out sick, emergencies happen. So it was really interesting to have areas that were like succeeding and then have other areas that were just such a struggle. And it seemed like nothing we did kind of worked.
What are the expectation time-wise for those that are matched 101?
So we asked for it's a 4 hour a month commitment. So ideally it's twice a month for 2 hours a week. What's nice about the opportunity is even though it's long-term, the time is flexible. So we tend to get a lot of professionals who can meet on the weekends. But we do sometimes get people who say, I'd like to meet during the evenings, or they have and especially post-COVID, now that people may be working from home and have flexible schedules, more people might have free time during the weekdays as well. But yeah, ideally twice a month for a couple hours.
Okay, and the pantry, is that something that you needed more often, more frequent?
It's just, I think because probably like many, we need more volunteers for operations. So what maybe before we could get away with 6 volunteers per day. Now we need a minimum of at least 8. And there's, so it's also a specific type of volunteer because of, you're on your feet, you're standing all day. It's a 4.5-hour shift. So it's somebody who's, that's very appealing to some people. And then to some people that's not their jam, as people say. So, yeah. So, and that's also open and it's during the week as well. So I think that was also the obstacle. So it tends to be a lot of retirees, or people who maybe have, a nurse or something who has an interesting schedule and she doesn't work Monday through Friday. So.
Do you find an increase of the families that are coming and asking for food from the pantry?
Yes, big increase. It used to be just under 100, maybe a year ago. Now I think one day we had 175 was our largest. So and that's our smaller pantry. So this is a big jump. So.
Oh, wow. How is it open every day? The pantry?
It's now open 5 days a week. We just added Sundays in August. But the big days we need help are actually Monday through Thursday. So Sundays have been good, just because it's newer, so people are still hearing about us, so we don't tend to get as big a crowd. But Monday through Thursday is the big need for us.
It's so sad to hear that the numbers, but it's quite unbelievable. I think collectively, if we will see the pounds of food that is being distributed just for those that are attending now this meeting, it's unbelievable, just absolutely unbelievable. That's anyone else finding that there are some areas that it's easier to recruit volunteers and others that it's a little bit more challenging?
Joyce, I have the same friendly visitor program, similar. And
who's talking? Sorry.
Oh, Marissa Green with JFS in Colorado. And I'm in Denver, but we also have a Boulder office. But yeah, we've had much success with our friendly visitor program, and now we have volunteers waiting for matches from our clients. But the things that are challenging for us, I would say, is our mobile food pantry that we have. It's fairly new, but it's our food pantry basically going to neighborhoods that are in need. And I think just because it's outside and it's in areas where there's low income or potentially more crime, things like that, maybe that is the barrier, but we're trying to figure that out. And so that we've been trying to heavily recruit for, whereas with the others, we more kind of passively recruit. And our food pantry, we serve anywhere from like 200 to 400 people a day. And the mobile food pantry has increased, getting to be in the hundreds now. It was a little smaller, but that's starting to increase as well. So we're seeing a need there. It's just, we're not sure how to recruit volunteers when we've tried. So we're thinking of maybe doing flyers that are near the sites, of maybe getting people who live close by, whereas maybe that is the barrier, that our volunteers don't want to drive to these areas potentially. But we've had much success with volunteer match, and I would say our biggest success has been just word of mouth, like asking our current volunteers to talk about their stories and whatnot as well. So we've been trying to like kind of pull more social media and work with like marketing and stuff to kind of talk more about stories and whatnot from our current volunteers. And then drivers as well has been a challenge. A lot of our driving is mostly delivering food from one place to another. Maybe there's no client interaction. Sometimes it is just dropping off food really quick. So those two tend to be the two areas that we struggle and need to recruit, just because I think the driving and then the lifting and whatnot as well. So maybe that's the challenge, that it's not on site.
So when you say mobile, if you can just explain what that means.
Yeah, so we have a truck that goes into different communities each day. It kind of like alternates where we are going. And they go, and in the truck, we have food and hygiene items as well. So the clients can come twice a month, like our food pantry on site, and receive items.
So, and who can access the food, the mobile truck?
Just in those neighborhoods. So the city has helped identify neighborhoods that we go out to. So typically,
So anyone that lives in that neighborhood can come and access, or you need to register in advance? How does it work?
yeah, they register in advance, and I think it's based on income and household and whatnot as well.
So do you find that the volunteers will have to interact with someone that is not on the list and asking food? Are there situations like that?
No, so there is staff. So staff typically handles like people checking in and everything like that. And then the volunteers are more there to help them with like the shopping experience. So luckily all of those challenges would be handled by the staff person.
So you say shopping, is that they enter
Yep.
the truck and they choose the items themselves? It's not pre-packed?
No, it's not pre-packed. So it's making an experience, and then it's marked how many items they can take. So it literally is a mobile of our food pantry, where, they're highlighted by what colors, and they can select this many items from this section, this many items from another section. And so it is like trying to make that experience again. And then we do usually set up like a table outside as well of more supplies like diapers and things like that too, if we have.
Interesting.
And the truck is driven by a staff member too. I saw somebody just ask that.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
The truck is driven by a staff member. So somebody asked that in the chat.
Oh, okay. No, I don't see that. Lisa is monitoring the chat. I didn't even open it to see what. So if I ignored anyone, my apologies. I wasn't checking the chat. But this is very impressive, Marissa, what you guys are doing, and I didn't hear about this concept before. Like, to be honest.
For the mobile food pantry, Colorado has one. South Jersey, we have someone from South Jersey here, right? We met someone, Bailey, right? You have one, don't you? And we have a Shoki JFS, which is in Fairfield County. And our fantasy, Bailey, is that in Pittsburgh in May, that you will drive your truck, your agency will drive their truck, and Shoki JFS will drive their truck, and we'll have a real experiential training. It's too much for Colorado to drive it, but we want Colorado to be a part of it. So
jousting.
Put that in there, a part of the presentation.
Mobile pantry jousting.
Yeah, I think it'd be so interesting, and I think people would be very, it could inspire other agencies, because you can get funding to do this.
Yeah.
Right. There's funding out there for this.
our truck is like specifically now meant for this. It's a refrigerated truck, whereas
Yeah.
when we first started over a year ago, it was just a box truck and we would literally unload and have tons of tables. So it's, you know, somebody donated because people are willing to support it and they see the numbers increasing. So, you know, who knows what
Right.
it's look like in another year.
Right. And
So,
Joyce from LA
your
has a couple
mobile-
as well, and they call them pop-up pantries.
Oh, I like that.
So, for the one in Denver, have you had this mobile truck already in the winter?
This one specifically, no, but the box truck we did last winter, yes. And a few of the days, like when we closed because of the weather, the pantry, the truck didn't go out, but they were out there. And I think that could be too a barrier for some volunteers. They're like, I don't want to be outside in the winter, but it actually turned out better than I thought it would. So, you know, they know it's a need and they see the clients. So I think that has been helpful. And luckily our winters are weird where like there's a dump of snow and then it usually melts like in a day or two and we're back to like sunny and beautiful. It's not like Midwest East weather where I'm from. So it's a little different and it can be really cold, but the sun is out and you don't feel as cold. So I think we have that going for us when it comes to having the truck outside.
I think in Winnipeg, it's going to be a struggle with the winter that we have minus 20,
Yeah.
minus 30. Things will freeze if it's not fully insulated and actually in the heater going on.
Yeah, and I think
But,
that's the challenge. It's sad when we have to say, hey, sorry, we're not going to make it out today. And who knows, I'm sure that some people still show up because they're not seeing our communication.
Thank you, Marisa, for sharing. Is there anyone else that would like to share a little bit about their volunteer strategies, recruitment, challenges?
Vetting processes, that was something we had said we wanted to talk about. That's hard sometimes.
I will say it is, I'm part of an organization that runs a pantry, but also runs, you know, senior services, also runs immigrant and refugee services, the greater JFCS organization. It's easy to recruit for departments that people know what it is already. It's easy to recruit for a pantry. Everybody knows what a food pantry is. It's harder to recruit for, like, we have a department that's like counseling for lawyers for refugees and immigrants or something. So what we found is helpful is if you've got departments like that, you can sort of take volunteers from the charismatic departments and say, hey, by the way, we may not have opportunities here, but you know who really needs help? This great program that I heard of that is also part of our organization. And we've been able to sort of feed the programs that are harder to intuit what the purpose is like that.
That's a great idea. Anyone else want to share?
We do, this is Marissa. We do the same thing as well. Everyone knows us for our food pantry. So when we get them for the interview process, we typically try to talk about our program as a whole. And say, by the way, you know, and some people will ask, like, what is your current urgent need? And so we do try to bring up those as well and try to say, hey, you know, the food pantry, you know, you can come when you want. It's kind of a hybrid situation where like some are regular, some fill in, that kind of thing. But we'll try to mention other programs as well and say, like, for example, you know, our resettlement program really could use some help with on-call support or whatever. So I think it just, we have like a weekly meeting where we talk about what our needs are. And so then when we are doing these interviews, we can kind of talk about leading people into a direction where we could use more support if they're open to that. But, you know, some people are specific. I just want to do this. I don't want to do that. So that's how kind of we've been going toward it. And I think some people get turned off by the vetting process when it is like the client facing because they don't want a background check and driver's license and auto insurance and all those things. But that's been really helpful to kind of talk about how else can you get involved. And then our newsletter, we typically also send out to our volunteers saying, hey, we have needs elsewhere. So even just from our current volunteer base of 1,500 volunteers, maybe we can get some assistance in other programs.
That is impressive. So thank you both, Kate and Marisa, for sharing that. Oh, I I see thumbs up from Kate. Anyone else would like to talk? I can share that our area now, I think we do have new volunteers that are coming in. We do find that for the traditional jobs, volunteer position, volunteering once a week or every other week, it's a little bit more difficult for people to commit and to find the time, knowing that they will have to be one-on-one. There's no one there going with them. That is a little bit more challenging, and especially if they go into a case that it's not an easy start, because we find we are now looking at volunteers as donors. I don't know if that is being approached by all of you, because they are volunteering their time, and for me, it means that you are a donor. Donors become an extended arm of the agency. They are the ambassadors. They will tell their friends if it was a good experience or a bad experience. So we have to make sure that they are treated well. And we do from our end, we will try to do the best job that we can, making sure that we call them in appropriate time. Like if someone leaves a message, we will try and calling them in the next day or two. Sorry?
That's important, right? Getting back
it
to
is.
people.
And sometimes too, like many of us, at least me, I'm a one person that runs the show. And sometimes I am occupied if there's a food drive or there's something like that. I'm not at the office. I'm on site. I'm somewhere else. I don't even hear the messages until a day or two. And for that volunteer, for them, they're volunteering. They want the full attention. And sometimes, we miss it, or the phone calls, or they spoke with the social worker, and the social worker said they're going to call them back, but was a client at the crisis unit, and things happen. But for them, it wasn't a good experience. And some people will be kind and call back and say, you know what happened here? We will be able to explain, and they will say, okay, sorry, now we understand. But for some, they don't have the patience. They go and they talk, and you just need one person that can ruin a fantastic job that the agency has been doing for years. Anyone have an experience of volunteers that were frustrated, upset with the organization, and how they dealt with it? I think this is important for all of us to hear, because there are always those volunteers that may be fully right that we didn't handle it correctly. Does anyone want to share?
Never happened, Lynn? Or it has? Okay, yeah, mute.
Yeah, I mean, I could share. We had something last year whereby a long-standing staff member retired, and a new staff member came in and started to fashion the program a little bit more suited to her vision, and the volunteers had to adjust. And if I could say, one was fighting back a bit, like the way the structure had been, like the way the procedures were in place, was very comfortable with them, had a leadership role amongst the group of volunteers who were implicated in that area. And all of a sudden things were shifting. And so was, without even intentionally, sort of challenging this new staff member. And we just sat down together and we talked about, what was happening. It was just an innocent thing. The staff was saying, I'm really just trying to get my feet wet. I'm really trying to adjust. I'm just trying to assess what's going on and how things are going, and if there's anything we could do to be, to improve the situation. And I'm going to count on the volunteers to give me input, And so once we really cleared the air, it still took time. I think, I thanked everybody for their honesty and openness and willingness to come forth with what they were experiencing. But I would say it took about a good month. But
That's
now,
it?
but that was several meetings. We had to really, touch base again and see.
It's all about communication, right?
It really is, honestly. Yeah.
And
Because
especially volunteers that are big donors. You want to tiptoe around them because you don't want to upset them. That's when I ran an agency. That's what I often had to contend with.
That is very true. And sometimes, staff is doing their ultimate best, but we work with clients that often they wouldn't be clients if they were functioning and living differently. So we have volunteers that will go with to a home visit or will go with a package, even though the client received a phone reminder a week ago and the day before and the morning of,
Right.
they're still not home.
Yeah.
But for the volunteer that came and took the package and walked up
It's our fault.
for
Yeah.
sorry?
It's our fault. It's the agency's fault that they did all that and they didn't get the, yeah.
It
they didn't
is.
get to give the package. Right.
Because and then they have to bring it back because they have perishable items that need to be refrigerated in a certain way. So for them, it was a drive for nothing, even though they really wanted to do something good. So I keep on reminding them who are our clients and why we do what we do. And some are super understanding, but some are upset. They felt like we carved 2 hours from a very busy schedule. We wanted to do something good, and at the end, we did nothing. Because there was a temp that didn't lead to actually giving and handing the package. Is this something familiar for those that are doing food deliveries that happen to you guys?
100%.
I don't know. We always put it on the client. We're like, if you don't answer the door, bud, we're just gonna put it on your porch and you're gonna have to figure it out.
But it's the volunteer who wants to be able
Yeah,
to
I
give it to
know.
them to feel like they
But
Yeah,
I can tell you, Kate, we don't do that.
yeah,
And the reason some of the clients that we serve live in a complex of Manitoba
Yeah,
housing, which
yeah.
is the neighbors may not be receiving, and if we leave it out,
Oh, yeah,
it
that's
gets
big
stolen.
factor. Yeah, for sure.
So quite the opposite. So then
Yeah, for sure.
we don't leave packages. We try to give it to the client. If the client is answering and they refuse to open the door, but we hear them and they said like, we don't want to open the door to you, please leave it here. But there was kind of interaction, even though it wasn't face to face. We asked the volunteer, go to the end of the hall, wait and see that the client is opening the door and taking the package. Because we don't want the other side that the client will say, where was my package? And phoning the social worker 20 times later, like, I didn't get the package. Someone took my package. We don't have extra. If I pack 100 packages for Rosh Hashanah, this is what I have. I won't have more to distribute. It's going to be regular food from the pantry, but it's not the home cooked items that we have volunteers that prepare. So it would be quite easy if we'll say, you know what, if you're not home, we're just going to leave it outside your door. But we don't do that. And yet we only have, not only, but we have 100 clients versus the 600, 700 that you guys are dealing with. It's a completely different operation. I don't know how I would handle a situation if we had 600 clients that we had to deliver. I can't even wrap my head around it. If
Yeah,
they
it's
all need to be delivered at the same day, I don't know how you guys do it.
it's sort of it's a ground control situation, you know.
It is. So your case, you just deliver and it's the client. If not there, it's on them. Anyone else that is dealing with food have a different strategy of what they do?
I will say our time frames for like nobody gets food unless you call us and say, yes, absolutely, 11 o'clock, I'll be there. If they've already committed to that, like you need to agree to a time before the food comes to you. I mean, sorry, I'm over explaining this, but yeah.
That's okay. Anyone else have experience of delivering food and not clients coming to the pantry, which is a little bit different? Going out to their people's houses and apartments?
I would say that our situation is similar to yours, Einat. When we have clients that are not there, we have to have the volunteers bring the food back to our agency so we can refrigerate it, and we find other people that we can give the food to, but
Oh,
if
so
we
you're not saving it to that specific client?
well, we were, but if they're not gonna get it, then we have other clients that we can give the
Oh.
food to.
So it's a one chance. If they're not home, then they don't get it.
I think we try very hard to make contact with them first. We don't just give up on them immediately, but yes, we won't let the
Mhm.
food go without an owner. We will find some.
So what
That's
we
a
do, the
really
package will
interesting
come
idea.
back to JCFS, and then the worker, the social worker, will have to deliver it to the client. But yeah, and if they refuse, we will give it to a different client. But yeah, so you see, each of us operates a little bit different, and we have different rules of what we do and what we don't. But I see we have a couple minutes before we end this conversation. I do want to thank everyone for contributing to this program today, to the meeting. Lisa, when do we meet again?
Again, I have on, oh, I have to look it up. I think I wrote down 11:29, but I could be wrong. Let me just make sure. But I think I did write it down in the beginning of this hour. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm going through all of them. Volunteer. 9:20 was today, 11:15. Oh, November 15th.
November 15th.
Oh,
So I do want to wish you all a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for coming and joining us today. And we will see you in
And
next
Lori, we
month.
want to hear from you next time. We didn't hear from you. So next time.